Welcome to my channel. I'm Cynthia, author of Spiritually Single in Sickness and Health, A Woman's Guide to Healing at a Soul Level, and Twin Flames, Beyond the Veil of Illusion. In both of my books, I talk about how humanity spiraled down to this point of existence and why we are living in such limitation and restrictions under the rule of psychopathic and narcissistic personalities. That being said, I'm going to bring us into our topic of conversation, which is twin flames divorcing to come into divine physical union right here on the earth plane, which seems like an impossible feat for twins who find themselves in a third party situation due to choices in life that were made before they raised their consciousness level to awareness and understanding of their spiritual path, as well as the understanding of why they made certain choices that they did at a much lower level of consciousness. People choose mates for many different reasons. And in the mainstream way of believing and living that is so restrictive due to the dogmatic teachings in many religions and intellectual ways of belief and survival in the majority of communities throughout the world. We are very suppressed and tabooed to think that we can step outside of those boxes. Many people believe that this is as good as it's going to get, and that to claim your divine right of true love and happiness is being extremely selfish. Yet many remain in the bondage of debt through the lower ego to keep up appearances within the realm of church, community, and elitist society. When twin flames awaken to their connection, after they have found themselves in this type of restriction, they long for freedom. They long to be with their true heart's desire, their other half, which is their natural state of being that God intended them to live in. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been created in that image. So the desire to be with your twin is perfectly sane, and it is perfectly natural. I have been a spiritual practitioner for well over 40 years. My work has not involved being in the public eye. It is a very simplified way of teaching and spiritually practicing that has not revolved around the mainstream. Therefore, people have automatically found me that had questions that their peers, their counselors, and society, their clergy, and their churches could not answer. I have seen every aspect of the twin flame journey, so nothing could really shock me. I remember many years ago, I had a couple, and I talk about them in Twin Flames Beyond the Veil of Illusion, who had met at a Catholic Mass. Catholics, devoted to their faith, very devout, and they fell in love. He was married to a very abusive woman who was addicted to alcohol and drugs. And this marriage was so bad that he was barely surviving. The only thing that was getting him through was his faith and belief in God. And they had a young son, and he was solely taking care of him because his wife was incapable of doing it. This twin flame couple overcame great odds to come into a physical union. At one point, this man was threatened with losing everything because those around him were so narrow in their one-sided tunnel vision that they felt, because he had made a commitment to this woman in his youth at a time when he hadn't opened spiritually to his highest potential, he was destined to stay in this simply because it was a commitment and take abuse to the point that it was becoming physically dangerous for both him and his son. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that is sheer ignorance, and it doesn't serve a higher purpose whatsoever. I have dealt with a lot of addiction in my life. I have had a family situation where I've lived with addicts. I have also worked with people who've completely come out of addiction and then cross-addicted into patterns such as overeating and smoking that led them into the darkest pits of their cruelty and entitled behavior towards other people. So, yes, God does heal, but no, not everybody chooses to come out of destructive behavior patterns. It is simply at a soul level that will be worked through in another time and place. But does that mean that the twin flame tied to that kind of situation has to take themselves all the way down? Absolutely not. I believe that to stay in situations like that only stunts your own growth, and it prevents you from living your life to its fullest, your creative endeavors, and it can even interfere with your health. And I have seen this many times. I have seen twins who had great abundance in financial, and they were hit with a catastrophic illness. And they were in a very discordant, dysfunctional marriage and chose to stay in it because of the thoughts and opinions of their peers and their church. And they ended up getting sicker and even taken out of the body ahead of time because of the negative existence that they were living in that was completely blocking their healing. I have also seen twin flame situations where women were dumped. One in particular, who my mother worked with many years ago. And she did not want to let go of a marriage in which the cycle of companionship and love had ended. And one day her husband came home and simply said, "Honey, I'm sorry. I can't fake it anymore, but I have never loved you. You were not my first choice. This marriage was not what I really wanted in my heart. I am feeling in bondage. I'm feeling stifled, and I need to get out of it." Well, the fur flew, and there was no way she was going to release this marriage. And she was at our house on our doorstep for many hours a day processing this with my mother. And finally, when she let go and signed the divorce papers, and for the sake of the children, decided to work on having a solid level of communication and forgiving the fact that this marriage could not work out, she began to heal. And very soon after that, she met her divine partner, her twin flame. And they were married, and needless to say, 50 some odd years later are still together. And I'm proud to say that this couple is very close to me to this day, and they are dear friends. So when we close our mind down and we restrict our thinking simply by societal rules and regulations that are hemming us in and destroying our health, we are never going to find our true direction in life. Twin flame union after divorce can only work when both souls have cleared the trauma of the past and they have completely released the former partner. So in some cases, divorce to come into union does not always work. But the only time it doesn't is if there are blockages at a soul level that are preventing that couple from opening to one another all the way. And I have found that There are many reasons for this. One of the biggest reasons is intellectual elitism, feeling that they're going to lose a part of their identity if they move all the way into this relationship in body, mind, and spirit. The other reason is often religious differences, because there is such a guilt trip that is laid on those in organized religion to remain in one marriage for life, even if they are incompatible. And the other is also twisted and warped New Age spiritual beliefs that are so dogmatic. You have to change your entire scope of life and being a human being to where it's so bizarre and so way out there, you couldn't possibly function on the earth plane because of all these spiritual regimes and diets and tasks that you have to do. Well, I am a very practical spiritualist, and I do not believe that to follow God's laws and live a spiritual life, that we have to be in bondage to the point it is so rigorous we cannot live a normal life. Because guess what? If you are on the earth plane in a physical vehicle, no matter how much your life may absolutely suck, you have to remember that you are here to master the earth plane. You are here to make the most of it. And that means creating a solid, stable life on the earth plane, dealing with things you may not always want to deal with, dealing with work situations, employers, or even if you are an entrepreneur, you will have sometimes even more challenges in the business world because you're still going to be dealing with people that make decisions of whether or not they want to put in a bid for your contract or allow you to put in a bid for something they are contracting. So we are here for a divine reason. Twin flames who come into union are here for a divine reason. Yes, they do divorce. And if it is done on a level of love and fairness, then and only then can that twin flame union blossom and become all that it can be. I wish you so much love and many blessings. And remember this, always, no matter what you are going through, the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. Where you are, God is.